Hi everyone, it's me, Andrea from Andy's Corner, and I want to thank you for tuning in to my channel today. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video, because right now we're going through a really good book called The Biggest Story by Deyoung, and it says how the snake crusher brings us back to the garden. So we went over how Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden. Then they had the Israelites and they got as slaves in Egypt, and then Moses delivered them. We've covered a lot of ground. And now we're at a place where the people want a king. But God's not too happy about that because he wants to be their king. But he gives them what they want. So let's see what happens. Chapter 7. God's people had a hard time not copying everyone else around them. This was especially true when it came to having a king. Although God warned them how bad kings could be, they just had to have one. So eventually, God gave them a king. Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. The first king was Saul. He was very impressive height-wise and pretty disappointing in every other way. The second monarch, young David from Bethlehem, was definitely much better. In fact, before we get to the king, there's almost no one more important than King David. When David wasn't busy sinning, which he did in some really big ways, he was a good, wise, merciful king. Many good things happened to God's people when David was in charge. They were victorious and prosperous and blessed. This is the story of David and Goliath, and King David was a warrior. So if you want to read more of the stories in depth, then just read in your Bible, and you'll read all the stories. But the best thing that happened was what God promised would happen. God told David that he would always have a son to sit on the throne. He promised David an everlasting kingdom. This was good news for David, and even better news for God's people. It meant that God had not forgotten the guarantee he made in the garden. A deliverer was on his way, and now everyone who had ears to hear knew he would be a son of David. But the next son of David was not the one they were looking for. Solomon started off on the right foot, but he ended up tripping quite spectacularly. After Solomon, the kingdom split into two, with Israel in the north and Judah in the south, and neither kingdom was very good. God punished Israel first and then Judah. In the course of 400 years, God's people would go from top dog to dog food. They had been kicked out of their promised land just like Adam and Eve had been kicked out of their paradise. And worst of all, David's house and David's throne were no more. The future looked bleak, especially for the promises of God. Now, I think that's the end of chapter 6. So to find out how God somehow in the midst of all this crazy still keeps his promises, you've got to tune in to chapter 7. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and then you don't miss a beat. All right? Have a good day. Bye.